Y'all, we are continuing our 12 Days of Christmas series, and guess what? It is the 8th day of Christmas. For this, we're going to do it simple. We're going to do a honey apple glazed pork chop. For this, we have our pork chops. I have 3 because that's how many people I'm serving. I have 2 apples, some garlic, some olive oil, some pepper, some salt. Obviously, we've got some honey. We also have some thyme. Well, before we get to cooking, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so if you want to learn a new recipe every week, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to cooking. Alright, y'all, so the first thing we need to do is prepare our apples. Now, you can go ahead and peel them if you like. It's not going to bother me too much. Alright, and also, while we're just going to go ahead and thinly slice these apples. And while we wait until we need them, we're going to go ahead and put them in a little bit of cold salt water. Just to kind of help them not brown. While we finish up our other things. Alright, once we got our apples ready, let's go to the stove. Alright, y'all, so we got our skillet here. We'll start preheating that on about a medium-high heat. Just going to drop a little bit of olive oil in real quick. We don't need much, just enough to make sure we can coat everything. Alright, so once it's had a minute to warm up, we've drained our apples. We're going to start sauteing these together. While those are starting to cook, let's go do some pork chop work. Alright, so these pork chops, we're going to keep that real simple, real easy. Just salt and pepper in the taste. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper on each pork chop. However much you like. Alright, now we got those done. Let's go back over to the stove. Alright, we're only going to cook these for about 2 to 3 minutes before we bring in our meat. Then we're going to bring in 1/3 cup of our honey. Over the top. And we're going to take about 1/2 tablespoon of our garlic. We're going to go ahead and just add in about, a couple teaspoons of our fresh thyme. I'm not measuring this, I'm just eyeballing it. Alright, so just as those apples start to soften up, I'm going to go ahead and get our pork down. And you want it directly on that cooking surface. So if you got to move some apples around, please do. Some honey up top. Put some apples over the top. Okay, so now that we got these in here, we're going to cook for just a few minutes on each side. Really depends on the thickness of your pork chop. But I have thinner pork chops, but we are looking for an internal temperature of 145 to 150. After halfway cooking, and again, it really is going to depend on how thick your pork chops are. I'm going to flip them over. And like I said, we just want to bring them up to an internal temperature of 145. Alright, y'all. Once your pork chops have hit 145, they're done. Go ahead, cut that heat. This serves up with some mashed potatoes, some greens really well. Maybe some asparagus. A lot of side dishes you could pair with this. But anyways, there we have it. Apple glazed honey apple glazed pork chops. There it is. If you like this video, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button down below. There's a video over here that YouTube thinks you should watch. And until next time, keep on cooking on.